So I'm doing a little bit of food prep in our food prep area at the Tortoise Centre at TCHQ, and if you come in, I just wanted to talk through the minefield that is feeding tortoise food in captivity. So it's a controversial subject because what do you do? Like modern life, it's really, you can worry about picking the weeds, whether they're going to be toxic or not toxic, and one thing I would say is like just really push yourself to be brave in terms of growing plants. Like we grow plants in raised pots here, and there's so many resources online now where you can learn, and those different plants will really flourish at different times of year, which is great because that's what would happen in the wild. Tortoises eat different plants at different times of year, and that's creating the variety. So up here we've got pansies and violas. Down here it's easier when things are flowering, so we've got fox and cubs here. This heart-shaped leaf is nipplewort. You've got the fairy leaf cat's ear here, clover, which you must do in moderation if it's a young tortoise because that's quite high protein. And then we've got campanula. I didn't know any weeds 20 years ago. It does come, so just keep pushing yourself, use the apps. A lot of tortoises don't like to eat some, so I particularly like the Tea Lady tortoise book, which you can get on eBay because she actually focuses on foods that the tortoises like to eat. And the tortoise table is superb. It'll tell you if it's not toxic, but it doesn't tell you if it's something that a tortoise will readily eat. And also you have to train tortoises to eat, so they'll always go for like the more sort of lush food. So you do have to train them, and the main thing is just to feed variety. Never just feed just one thing, particularly if you've got to buy lettuce or rocket. Try and pick a few things from the garden so they're also getting weeds. And if you can't, there are bought products which I'm going to show you now. So this morning I've picked a bit of hedge bed straw, which is a great one to grow. We've got fairy leaf cat's ear, which is like a little cat's, it feels like a fairy cat's ear, a bit like dandelion family. We've got white nettle because it's May, and you get that a lot in the spring. And we've got organic pansies and violas. And I have also put in floret crispy salad, which is one of the best bought ones that you can get because you've got a good variety. You've got 3 different leaves, and the more kind of herby salads are better. They do have some vitamins and trace elements, but they're really high water. So just remember, try and feed it with other things, and stay away from iceberg lettuce because it really is just flat water. There's nothing in there, don't buy that. And obviously stay away from veg and fruit because it's like McDonald's for tortoises. So some of the bought products that we've got at the moment, you can buy a lot of these kind of dried extruded sort of snacks. This one is like a tortoise treat bar. I mean, maybe a sulcata or leopard would eat that like straight off, but if you offer that to a Mediterranean tortoise, they'll look at you like you're like it's a Martian. So what I've just had an experiment, and actually if you soak it, it becomes this kind of dried grass stuff. And I think if you actually then mix that with fresh and sprinkled it on, you'd have a fighting chance of actually getting them to eat that. And this would add dietary fibre. This is a way of adding dietary fibre to their food. So that's one you can do. The other one that's a firm favourite, which you do have to get them to get used to, is Wisen cobs. This has been used for years by specialists in Europe. It's a real go-to. It's got a huge variety of natural grasses and herbs in it. You can get a testudo herb one, and you can flake that on their food as well. And when you're getting a tortoise used to it, your main aim is just to do like the tiniest amount, and you want them to accidentally eat it. Okay, they're not, and then once they're used to it after a year, they'll eat it like cake. Okay, so don't be disheartened, just keep going and always put it on. So they have to, if they're getting the things they like, they have to accidentally get mouthfuls of the stuff that ultimately you want them to eat. And this is what it looks like dry. It's like an extruded grass pellet. And if you've got large animals, you can buy it in big sacks. So the next one is, there's a lot of edible bedding and stuff that you can get. And again, if you've got like a desert species, like a leopard or sulcata, they will eat that just outright. But if you've got Mediterranean species, they don't tend to eat this sort of grassy dried flour on its own. So if you damp it down again and put it on fresh food, they will like to eat it. You can sprinkle it on a little bit like this too. Okay, now one that is a great, it's a bit more expensive, but if you've only got like 1 or 2 tortoises, there's this new like dried grass cubes with dried flowers in it, fortified with calcium, and you soak that in water, and tortoises love the taste of this. So this is a great one. If you have large groups of tortoises, you may want to start mixing this one in because it's a lot more economical. You can buy sort of like a 15-kilo sack for sort of 15 quid, you know. This is what it looks like. If you soaked it in just warm water, and it comes apart like that. It smells grassy. It smells good. I think it's because it's got the herbs in it, they like it. Another one, if you've got a fussy eater, is you get like the botanical mix from Arcadia. And this is like a ground up herb and flower. And I particularly find like elderly North Africans like eating this, and it's got a tiny bit of bee pollen in there. And you can see, and you can sprinkle that and hide it on their food, and that adds dietary fibre like that. So that's a great one to put on. And I like to put a mixture of Nutribulk and plain limestone flour. Nutribulk is made for a variety of animals, lizards, birds and tortoises. Tortoises are very sensitive to taste, and I actually find if you do a very diluted blend with limestone flour and lightly put it on all food, it works better. So like this. The reason why you don't want to feed just Nutribulk is you can overdose vitamin D3, but if you dilute it with plain calcium, that will just go straight through the animal if they don't need it. But at the same time, there is quite a lot of waste when you feed a tortoise. And if you feed them just Nutribulk like a couple of times a week, I find tortoises can sometimes just not eat very much on those particular days. And I find it's better just to lightly puff a little bit of calcium on all food, so that it's an accumulative thing. And it's also more economical as well because it's going further. And it gives them no choice, they have to eat it. Start very light if you've got a tortoise that absolutely doesn't like the vitamins on the food, or even hide it in the more lush things and feed it to them like a vitamin tablet. But again, do persevere because tortoises do need more calcium than our plants and salads can offer. Where they come from, everything is so rich in calcium and they have so much more sunshine than we get. We need to give them as much help as we can. So I hope this is helpful. I know I always knock on about plants, but feeding a balanced diet, a variety, is so important, and it's something that people are really afraid of. And look how beautiful that is. Lots of different textures, and it's the enrichments. And I don't chop it all up. I think it's really good for them to have to work at their food and browse their food. And that's it. The only final thing I'd like to say is overfeeding can be a thing, particularly with young tortoises. So I would encourage you to leave like dried browse or leftover food, as long as it's not going, funky. Because growing a tortoise slow is really important. And also think about the frequency and how much you're feeding at different times of year. So in height of summer, their metabolism is going to be a lot higher, but in the autumn, you might want to cut back the food and maybe leave them leftovers 3 times a week. So that's something else to consider, the seasonal change in their diet. So I hope this is helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Time to feed some tortoises.